Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And yes, this is a book review. I think tomorrow I'm gonna post my, I did do my Reading Rush wrap-up. I think tomorrow I'm gonna do my July wrap-up. I ended up reading, I think, 7 books. Did I say March? I think I read 7 books in the month of July, which is like the most that I've read per month this entire year. So I was really excited about that. Yesterday I finished like 3 books. I could not believe it. But today, I want to do a review for you, and it was the last book. Was it the last book that No, it wasn't. No. The Quickie by James Patterson was the last book that I finished yesterday. But I want to do a review of CARI, MORA by Thomas Harris. Now, let me just tell you, first of all, before I get into this, I am a huge Thomas Harris fan, okay? I had seen, I read the book Silence of the Lambs back in the day, then I saw the movie, then I read Red Dragon, which actually comes before, and then I read Hannibal, and I think I read Hannibal, I don't know, right? But I love that whole Silence of the Lambs, all that kind of stuff, the movie, the books are 10 times better than the movies, on and on and on, and I was super just intrigued by all of that back in the day. I think I've seen the movie Silence of the Lambs, I mean, I don't even know at this point, 50, 100 times in my life. I love that movie. It's so scary, isn't it? And so anyway, I actually quote bits and pieces of it on my Peter Monn channel sometimes. But anyway, so when I heard that he had a new book coming out, I was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to get this book. And I found out actually at the beginning of the year. And the book takes place in Miami, and I go to Miami a lot. My husband and I are looking at, possibly at some point moving to Miami. And so I was really excited about reading this book. And so I reached out to the publisher and I said, is there any way that I could get an ARC, this, advanced reader copy, before it comes out? Because the book didn't come out, I don't think, until like April or May. And I can tell you in a second. And we were going to Miami the very last week of March last year for a music festival. And I was like, I want to read it while I'm down there. And the publisher responded to me, and she was really nice. I think it was a she. She was really nice, and she was like, I don't know that we're going to give ARCs out, but if we do, let me know. And she was like, but if we don't give ARCs out, do you want me to send you a copy anyway? And I said, yeah, that would be great, but I can buy it too. Don't even worry about it. So anyway, I never got a book, but it doesn't matter. I don't really care about that. I actually got on Audible because it was really short on Audible. It was 6 hours and like 9 minutes or something like that. And so here's the funny thing. I finished it, right? And yesterday, and I gave it 3 stars. Like right when I finished it, I gave it 3 stars. And then throughout the afternoon, it kind of started messing with my head. And last night on my vlog, I was talking about it, and I think I said I gave it 4 stars, right? So, and then after I finished my vlog last night, I was really thinking a lot about this book. And I went in to look on my Goodreads, and I had given it 4 stars, and I changed it to 5 stars. If you're a Thomas Harris fan, this book is fantastic. And I don't even really know what is so great about it. It is so, this is the thing. I forgot, because I haven't read Thomas Harris in a long time. And I think that I really thought that Thomas Harris was just like, he's more literary fiction thriller than he is just thriller. And I think that was part of the problem for me, was that it was kind of all over the place, but it was so fantastically done. I mean, there is even a part in there that is from the point of view of the alligator. So it is like absolutely incredible. And I just was super impressed. I thought I heard something going on. Oh, somebody's calling me. Sorry. Whenever somebody calls me, my videos start playing on my computer because it comes through my computer. But anyway, it just was fantastic. I couldn't believe it. And he has like 6 or 7, 8 or 10 different storylines going on that all come together through this one character, CARI, MORA. And it is just so well done. And I think like it was so kind of, well, it's a short book, so I can't say that it was slow paced, but it felt slow. And this was the thing. I read this article yesterday, and it talked about his new book coming out, and I think he lives in Miami now or something like that. And then he really kind of wanted to detail Miami as a character itself. Like he really wanted to show what Miami was like Well, Miami, like the softer side of Miami or whatever, you know, the side streets and the houses that are up for foreclosure on the mango trees, that is very, very slow, you know? And, you know, my husband and I, we love driving through just the side streets in the suburbs of Miami and just kind of dreaming sometimes. And there's an aspect of that in this book where she kind of does the same thing. And that part is very, very slow. And so he really, really, really captures what Miami is all about. It's so fantastically done. And I don't really know why when I finished it. I think when I finished it, I just kind of was like, is that it? And you know, at first I was kind of like, this is like Thomas Harris meets Ernest Hemingway. It really felt like that to me. The writing is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's very short and, you know, and distinct writing. But let me just tell you, if you are a fan of Thomas Harris because of his brutality and the harshness of the violence in his books, you will not be disappointed. It is the same way in this book as it is in his other books, just in a different kind of way. And he creates several characters. There's a police detective. Well, first of all, his characterization is absolutely incredible. But he creates this police detective, whose wife has been shot in the head, and she is in a retirement home, and his whole storyline is fantastic. And then CARI MORA, who is an immigrant that lives here, and like that's all part of her story as well, and she's kind of the focal point of this whole book, and because she takes care of this house, which I'm going to tell you about in a second. And then there is this kind of like jewel thief hunter named Hans Peter, and he is very much almost kind of like Hannibal Lecter-ish. And then there's just like all of these side characters, right? But I will tell you that and it's not just like boom, boom. It's like, oh, I want to say it, but I don't want to say it and ruin it for anybody. Well, I think it's at the beginning of the book. This one person has a cremation machine, like in his apartment. What? It's like crazy, okay? It's like that kind of, you know, Thomas Harris, he brings it. And, but it is a treasure hunt book, and that is really what I was excited about to begin with. And so I think that when I went into it, and I knew that it was going to be a treasure hunt book, and I thought it would be so completely different than Silence of the Lambs or anything like that, that when I was done with it, I was kind of like, well, it is, but it isn't, but it is, but it isn't, but it isn't, but it is, you know? And then I was kind of like, I don't know, 3 stars. But I'm telling you, this book stuck with me. It's still sticking with me today. And so anyway, I want to go in here, and I want to read to you the synopsis of the book. So here it is, Thomas Harris, CARI MORA. Beautiful cover. Is that not just absolutely a beautiful cover? Okay. From the creator of Hannibal Lecter and The Silence of the Lambs comes a story of evil greed and the consequences of dark obsession. $25 million in cartel gold lies hidden beneath a mansion on the Miami Beach waterfront. Ruthless men have tracked it for years. Leading the pack is Hans Peter Schneider. Driven by unspeakable appetites, he makes a living fleshing out the violent fantasies of other richer men. CARI MORA, caretaker of the house, has escaped from the violence in her native country. She stays in Miami on a wobbly, temporary protected status, subject to the iron whim of ICE. She works at many jobs to survive. Beautiful, marked by war, CARI catches the eye of Hans Peter as he closes in on the treasure. But CARI MORA has surprising skills, and her will to survive has been tested before. Monsters lurk in the crevices between male desire and female survival. No other writer in the last century has conjured those monsters with more terrifying brilliance than Thomas Harris. CARI MORA, his 6th novel, is the long-awaited return of an American master. It was fantastic, you guys. It just was. And I wish I really had realized how fantastic it was when I was reading it. You know, and CARI MORA, I mean, I absolutely can see this as a movie. There were elements of it that, like, not in a humorous way, but in kind of a dark way, reminded me a little bit of, like, Elmore Leonard. Is that his name? The guy that, okay, and like Jackie Brown, like if you ever saw that movie, there was like kind of like a dark Miami feel to that, even though that's LA. It felt like that, you know, when you were reading it. And they're just, it was so calculated and so well done. CARI is such a fantastic character. I mean, one of the strongest female characters I have literally ever read in my entire life, period, end of story. I mean, one of the strongest female characters I've ever read, emotionally, physically, and it's so well done. And you know, at the end of it, I have to tell you, like I'm not a spoiler person at all, but at the end of it, I was very surprised by the ending of it. And you know, I have to tell you that like right up to the end, I had really no idea, because if you've ever read the Silence of the Lambs books, they don't always turn out with fairy tale endings, so you don't know what's gonna happen, right? And I was surprised at the end of the book. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, there was definitely a way that I wanted it to end, and then there was the way that it ended, you know? So, I don't know. know. Maybe if you watch this in my next book club live stream, I'll tell you guys how I wanted it to end. But it was really, really well done. You know, yesterday I even texted Mel from the book club, and because she was asking me if I had read this book, and I said no, but it's, you know, on my TBR, and I have it on Audible. And I texted her and I said, I'm not really sure that you're going to like this book. And she goes, well, I think I'm going to give it a try. Anyway, it's on hold at the library. She's going to love this book. I mean, it is really, really, really good. And anybody out there that likes a mix between literary fiction and thriller, I think you'll really enjoy this. And it really does have the pacing of Miami. I will tell you this, if you're going to read it in the summer. I think it's a fantastic summer read. And because it's just like, I think part of it being hot outside and all of that, like really, you know, added to the enjoyment of this book. So it's no Silence of the Lambs, I'll tell you that. But what it is so completely different. And you know, I think that this was the other thing. I looked up on Goodreads to see the reviews it was getting, and it wasn't getting very good reviews. And in fact, let me see, I think it's like in 3 something average, GPA I was gonna say, 3 something average review on here. Oh no, 2.89 is the average. And I have to tell you, I'm just like, I think that really affected me going into the book. And it just, I have to tell you, like after finishing the book, I was like, this was brilliantly, brilliantly, brilliantly done. Like there are so many intertwining stories. There is so much culture in this book, absolutely beautifully written. And I just think that it's probably one of the best thrillers that I've ever read. Honestly, it is. But give it a try. Like, really allow yourself to read it. I will tell you this, too. The other thing is, read it very quickly. I think the fact that I finished it almost in 24 hours really, really helped me enjoy this book. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. I know I'm going to get a lot of people that are going to be like, I did not like that book. I did not see what you saw in it. But it just was. It just, I don't know, the characters came alive for me. It was beautifully written, and I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, and I did not see the ending coming. So, for me, that makes a great thriller, and it was also beautifully written. So anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.